It just so happens that the law enforcement officer that arrived was one that had a previous relationship with my baby's mom, and they take care on a 5150 hold, and then they decide to call CPS. And I have all the body cam footage from the incident and everything, and it's
And let's talk to Timothy from California. Timothy, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Hello.
Timothy, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. What's your story or
Okay,
question?
yeah. I was just surprised they finally called me. I'm just so used to calling people and being ignored, especially with the CPS. So I have a CPS case right now. And, the reason I'm involved in the CPS case is after my phone calls to law enforcement, actually, to prevent a domestic situation. I was planning on moving out the house, and the mother of my child didn't like it too much. And he decided to start throwing my laptop on the ground and putting peanut butter on my door handle on my BMW. And so I called law enforcement in the best interest of my child to prevent a domestic situation. It just so happens that the law enforcement officer that arrived was one that had a previous relationship with my baby's mom. And they take care on a 5150 hold, and then they decide to call CPS. And I have all the body cam footage from the incident and everything, and it's just amazing because you literally hear the cop talk to the other two officers and tell them that they feel the children are safe, that there's no need for CPS involvement. And he literally says it about 3 or 4 times during the body cam footage. But my baby's mother shows up and pushes the issue, trying to get my son so she could watch my son. And that's how the CPS got involved. Now, fast forward to about a year later, and they've discontinued services for me. And the next hearing is they're going to be taking away my parental rights at the next hearing, basically. And I just filed a 388 motion myself because the attorney they gave me is worthless. He's withdrawn from representing me. Although nothing's happened in court with that, I'm not sure what the process is. He just told me he's going to withdraw from representing me. So I filed my own 388 motion recently because I just presented evidence to the court that was never presented by him. These cases, they take a toll on you. I'll tell you that much. As strong as someone is, the mental toll it takes on you is incredible. And I just don't see how the courts and the CPS department are allowed to continue in these ways. Like, the first thing I was very surprised about is that they have an ex parte hearing in this first and initial court hearing where they decide to take away your child and put a protective order on your child and take him out of your custody. Is an ex parte hearing. And that was the first thing that was very alarming to me, and I didn't quite understand it all. And the other thing is that I've been going to these visitations with my son every weekend. I get 2 days a week, 2 hours a day, so it's 4 hours a week. And there has not been a single concern whatsoever during my visitation with my child, but they're still pressing to discontinue my services and take away my parental rights. I can't believe the way that they're able to do this kind of stuff. Like the ex parte hearing. Have you heard of that? Is that normal for them to do this type of thing?
Well, what you're referring to is the initial hearing, the detention hearing. And yeah, that's how the statute or the code is set up in California. I see you're in California. So yeah, it's normal. Yeah. See, Timothy, did you hear the last call that was
bits and pieces of it, yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the call, I told the caller that, you see, what you believe is justice is not actual justice. All right. And I think that you are, in a position where saying that this is all unfair, it's not right, blah, blah, blah. But you're not addressing what needs to be addressed, and that's the law. In California, where you live, the law in these CPS cases is very extensive. There's a lot of statutes passed by the state legislature. There's a lot of appellate cases that have explained the statutes. And, a lot of times, maybe 5, 6, 7 times out of 10, the law is something that you would have never guessed it to be. And then you say it's unfair, but you're not addressing the real thing that you have to do to get your children back. Now,
well, no, I've researched all the laws. I mean, I know all the laws and everything like that. I mean, I've researched all that. It took me 2 months to put this together, the 388 motion. It's a 200-page motion. I just submitted to the courts, and that's my other thing I was going to ask you is about how long it takes to hear back from the courts after you submit a 388 motion, because it's been about a week now and I haven't heard anything back at all.
In the code itself, if you look up or Google 388 in California Welfare and Institutions Code, it says right in there how long the court has. And I want to say, it's like 20 days that the court has to make a decision on a 388. Now, don't forget, just because you file a 388, the judge could do one of two things. He or she could deny your 388, just right out. Just deny it. You never have a hearing. Or the court could grant the 388, which means you only have a right to have a hearing to come to court to prove that what you say is true and best for the child. You could still lose that hearing, right? Just because your 388 gets granted for a hearing doesn't mean you're going to win. So you have to also get it granted for a hearing, and then you have to win the hearing. Now, one of the things you have to remember is that there are going to be attorneys on the other side who are going to be fighting against you. Most likely the social worker's attorney, most likely the child's attorney, right? So these are all things that you have to consider. And I'm impressed that you filed a 200-page 388 petition. But here's the problem. Did you do it the right way? Did you take into consideration the rules of evidence, the rules of civil procedure, the substantive law in the statutes and in the case law? Did you take all of that?
There's one attorney that's been kind of helping me just on his own time whenever he can. I'll submit stuff to him just to review, and he's kind of been helping me out that way because it's just too busy and too expensive for me to afford. But he's been doing me the favor and looking up stuff over and stuff like that. I spent a lot of time. I'm pretty well rehearsed in the law. My sister is an actual attorney in San Francisco for business law and stuff like that.
Let me ask you, what are you going to do if your 388 is granted for a hearing and you actually have to go to a trial or a mini trial to prove that you're right? What are you going to do then?
Go to trial, prepare and go to trial.
Okay.
I had to subpoena my witnesses, right?
Subpoena your witnesses. Maybe you might want to do a trial brief as a guide for the judge to follow along. What you have to do is you have to prove that there's been a change in circumstances and that it is best for the judge to best for the child that the judge grants your request in the 388. So a lot of people, and I don't know if you said this, but I got this impression that you are submitting evidence on old issues.
Of issues that evidence was never submitted because of an incompetent attorney.
Right. And there's a whole nother motion for that, not necessarily a 388 petition, although there are some that believe you can use 388 petitions like that. Well, in your 388 petition, what did you ask the judge to do?
To return my child to my custody.
Okay. And did you focus
basically I'm contesting the initial petition itself, because I was never able to petition it because I wasn't afforded any of my civil rights.
Okay, so that's a really bad strategy, Timothy. I mean, I hate to tell you that. Yeah, it's a really bad strategy. We're moving up on our next break. Do me a favor, write down my telephone number, call me on Monday, and I'll see if I can chat with you about some, doing some things or modifying your 388. My telephone number is 888-888-6582. Timothy, call us back in about a month to tell the viewers, or excuse me, the listeners, where you are in your case. I think we'd all like an update. All right.
I've emailed you a copy of the petition actually already.
Okay. Well, if you are not a current client of the office, it wouldn't have gotten to me. But
Yeah.
call me and I'll talk to you on the phone, okay? Hey,
Okay.
we got to take our next break. This is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm attorney Vince Davis. We'll be right back after these messages.